78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack. This book was recommended by Dunbar, who I took a lot of inspiration from for this Links and Dinks of the Terror series. The book contains sections that talk about the origins, as I've mentioned in one of my earlier videos, about the Italian game called Tarocchi, and the 22 cards of the major arcana being called the triumphi, the triumphs of trumps. Of the 22 images, many could be interpreted as a catalogue of medieval social types, such as the Pope or Emperor, or the Wheel of Fortune. Some represent virtues like temperance or fortitude. Others show religious, mythological scenes, such as the dead rising from the grave at the trumpet or the call of the Last Judgment. There is even a card depicting a popular heresy and the image of a female pope, which we can describe as a joke on the church, with rather deeper significance than most ecclesiastical humour. Still, we can view this heretical picture as deeply rooted in popular culture and therefore obvious to someone representing the medieval types. One figure, however, stands out as rather strange. It shows a young man hanging upside down by his left leg from a simple wooden frame. His hands are held casually behind his back to form a triangle with the head at the bottom. His right leg is bent behind his knee to produce the figure of a cross, or else the numerical 4. The face appears relaxed, perhaps even entranced. Where did Bembo derive this image? It certainly does not represent a criminal hanged at the gallows, as some later artists have assumed. In Italy, traitors were sometimes hanged upside down, and in fact most modern Italian decks call this card L'Appeso, the traitor. But there is no evil implicit in Bembo's figure. The young man appeared beautiful and at peace. Christian tradition describes St. Peter as being crucified upside down, ostensibly, so he could not be said to be copying his Lord. The Elder Adder describes the god Odin hanging from the world tree for 9 days and nights, not as punishment, but in order to achieve enlightenment, in order to receive enlightenment, the gift of prophecy. But this mythological scene itself derives from the actual practice of shamans, medicine men and women in such places as Siberia and North America. The initiation and training the candidates for shamanism are sometimes told to hang upside down. Apparently, the reversal of the body produces some sort of psychological benefit, in the way that starvation and extreme cold will induce radiant visions. The alchemists who, with the witches, were possibly the survivors of the shamanist tradition in Europe, also hung themselves upside down, believing that elements in the sperm, vital to immortality, would thus flow down to the psychic centers at the top of the head. And even before the West began to take yoga seriously, everyone knew this image of the yogi standing on his head. Did Bembo simply wish to represent an alchemist? Then why not use the more common image, that of a bearded man stirring a cauldron or mixing chemicals? The picture titled The Hanged Man in subsequent decks, later made famous by T.S. Eliot in The Wasteland, appears not so much as an alchemist as a young initiate into some secret tradition. Was Bembo himself an initiate? The special crossing of the legs would suggest so, and if he included one reference to esoteric practices, might not other images superficially as social commentary in reality represent an entire body of occult knowledge? Why, for instance, did the original deck contain 22 cards, not say 20 or 21 or 25, which each are more commonly given significance in Western culture? Was it a chance, or did Bembo, or perhaps others whom Bembo simply copied, wish to slyly represent the esoteric meanings connected to the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And yet, if any evidence exists anywhere connecting Bembo or the Visconti family to any occult group, no one has produced it for public scrutiny. A brief look at the stunning correspondences between the tarot and the body of Jewish mysticism and occult knowledge, called collectively the Kabbalah, will demonstrate a way in which Bembo's cards seem to command an esoteric interpretation. Despite the lack of hard evidence, the Kabbalah dwells very deeply on the symbolism of the Hebrew alphabet. The letters are connected to the paths of the tree of life. They are each given their own symbolic meanings. Now the Hebrew alphabet contains, as noted, 22 letters, the same number as the trumps of the Tarot. The Kabbalah goes deeply into the 4 letters of God's unpronounceable name, Yod He Vav He. They represent the 4 worlds of creation, the 4 basic elements of medieval science, 4 stages of existence, and 4 methods of interpreting the Bible. There are 4 court cards in each of Bembo's 4 suits. Finally, the Kabbalah works with the number 10, the 10 Commandments, and the 10 Sephiroth, stages of emanation, and each of the 4 trees of life. The 4 suits contain cards numbered from 1 to 10. Do we wonder then that tarot commentators have claimed the deck originated as a pictorial version of the Kabbalah, meaningless to the masses but highly potent to the few? And yet in the thousands of pages of Kabbalistic literature, not one word appears about the tarot. For years, Tarot was seen as a game for gambling, much to a lesser extent a device for fortune-telling, which was possibly from the gypsies, who would have taken the art of tarot and used it in the same way as selling you a fortune through tea leaves. Then in the 18th century, an occultist named Antoine Court de Gobelin declared the tarot as the remnant of the Book of Thoth, created by the Egyptian god of magic to convey all knowledge to his disciples. Thoth was the equivalent of Hermes or Mercury, the messenger. Court de Gobelin's idea appears more fanciful than the factual. But in the 19th century, another Frenchman, Alphonse Louis Constant, known as Eliphas Lévy, linked the cards to the Kabbalah. Since then, people have looked deeper and deeper into the tarot, finding more and more meanings, wisdom, and even through meditation and deep study, enlightenment. Today, we see the tarot as a kind of path, a way to personal growth through understanding of ourselves and life. To some, the tarot's origin remains a vital question. For others, it only matters that meanings have accrued to the cards over the years. And Bembo, whoever his predecessors might have been, did create an archetype, whether consciously or from deep instinct beyond any system or detailed explanations. The images themselves changed and elaborated over the years by many different artists, fascinate and entrance us, and persuade us into their mysterious world, which ultimately can never be explained but only experienced. I'm glad that this turned out before I finish the links and dinks of the Fool. I'm gonna make sure that there isn't anything in here that I've missed. Those of you interested in seeing the full book, I actually got it on a deal at Amazon. It was down from £25 to £11. Not sure how that will translate into different currencies. Yeah, looking forward to reading some more of this. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.